Hello, Patriots. Capt here. And, you know, this whole awakening has been just that awakening. And it's been about a remembering of who you are and what you have forgotten intentionally by coming into this world. But that coming into this world, it's got it backwards, and it always has been. And so the idea that you're human and you're having a spiritual event, it's not. You're actually a spiritual being having a human experience. And so that changes everything. And to know that you are spirit, you're only having a human experience, then all of this is an experience. It's not a definition of who you are. It's a journey, and it's an experience for your soul. It's what you came here for. And when we are remembering and awakening, we're awakening to who we are and to our spirituality of who we truly are, and allowing that to change our reality in the way that we perceive and view things. And it's like when people want to convince you and they spend a lot of time on trying to convince you, why? Why does your spirit need to be convinced, persuaded, or controlled? It's a good question, because you have everything already inside you. And science is now even finding out, even your DNA, all the junk DNA is not actual junk. It's what they couldn't explain, because that's what's being activated right now, is that junk DNA and your frequency and the changing of your perception of who you are and what you believe. And so I'm not here to change what you believe. I'm not here to persuade you in what you believe. Either you awaken to it or you don't. It's like when Christ told you, this is the thing, is that when people want to manipulate things, I only think and do the things in which Christ said or he did, not other people's opinion about that, because that's where you get into being misled very easily or controlled. And so, what did he do? Well, he came against all of the formal religion of the time and told you, specifically, told them that the kingdom of God is already here and that it is inside of you. What? It's inside of you. Yes, it is already inside of you. And he didn't say that, oh, it's only inside of you after you actually receive my salvation for you. No, he didn't say that. He said it's already in you. And he also told them that when your outside becomes like your inside, and your inside as your outside, all things change. Wow, okay. Also about don't be conformed of this world, but be renewed by the renewing of your mind. Renewing of your mind, okay? So the mind is the separation between the spirit and the heart, and your heart coherence. Your heart, your head, your thinking is what processes your reality. But what energy do you have before thought? Before thought comes the energy in what you're actually radiating, what you're actually sending out, your frequency. Oh yeah, there's a frequency that you're sending out, whether it be of fear, whether it be of love, whatever it may be. And those are the things that Christ specifically spoke about to get in balance. He was in complete balance and was in complete connection to oneness with his Father. And he said that specifically. Me and my Father are one. You see me, you see him. Is that what you're doing? Because that's the example that he laid out for us. And he also laid out the thing that when he went to talk to people, he went and visited with them where they were. He didn't say, y'all need to all come over to the temple and y'all need to all come to the house of God. No, he didn't. He went to them on the shores, he went to them in the towns, and he brought the message of God to them where they were. And he told you that you didn't need the church. He didn't come to create a church. He didn't. And you can believe what you want to believe, but that's not what he said. That's not what he did. He came against it. His house was supposed to be a house of prayer. That's communication. That's it. He didn't say, this is my house that you're to be educated in and to be trained up and to be all that this world wants you to be. All those are all religious doctrine. And so when I was in college, Bible college, and God told me, he says, I want to be the one that teaches you. And this is right after I did a major thesis paper after my first year of theology college on Constantine. And because I was very limited on what I had the abilities to find back then on Constantine, other than the church and other little places to be able to find it, it was well put together for a story and a narrative that was a good thing. But it wasn't. Because Constantine actually didn't have a true experience with the God that created all. He did have an experience with a God, but it wasn't the God that created everything. Not the jealous God, the God that needs to have something that is below him that actually causes him to be jealous. None of that makes sense. And so you can believe what you want, but it's about control and manipulation. This is what Christ came against. And when you want to look at what Constantine did, when you look at the writings of the time, and he had to basically work within the church, because the church being formed at the time was about being able to control this Christianity that was going, it was just out of control for them at the time because of the Gnostics. Because the Gnostics were the true believers back then, and they believed that they represented that Christ was the Son of God and was the embodiment of that very thing. And they followed that 100%, but they didn't get into all of the false doctrines of the control of the religious sector that was out there. They operated just as Christ told them to and how he actually operated. And they had to come against that in some way to be able to stamp it down. So after he said, I had an experience. Now, Christianity is the law of the land. And then shortly after that is when they brought together the Council of Nicaea of the Roman Catholic Church. Roman Catholic Church put together the doctrine of the Bible and how it was going to be put together for you today. But then after they did that, they transcribed it all into Latin. So nobody at the time could be able to understand Latin and read it because that was not the language of the people. And so it created the Dark Ages. And not only did it create the Dark Ages, but it also created the Crusades and anyone that stood against the church because they had to eliminate it. They had to control the writings. The Vatican actually took all of the documents, all of the writings, everything. They put them all in the Vatican, or they burned things that were in duplicate, but they kept copies of everything, guaranteed. And so they knew all of this stuff. And so when you get writings that are specific in what Christ taught you about raising your consciousness and raising your vibration and being those things in which he commanded you to do, which said that you will do these things in which I do in greater measure. Who's doing that? Is that supposed to be like after he returns? Because when you're sitting here waiting for a Christ to come and to save you, you've been neutered by the church. He didn't tell you to wait until he comes back to save you. He didn't say any of those things. Didn't do any of those things. But he did go to a place, a higher place, to prepare a place for you. And it's like, if he did that, then that means that not only is he up where the right hand of the Father, but he's also in a place that he's prepared for us, which is a higher dimension, which if we look at the rapture, the calling up, calling away, one will be left, one will stay in the field, in the bed, so on and so forth. Sounds like Ascension. Same thing that happened to, who was, not Enoch and Elijah. Oh, but Enoch wasn't prevalent to be in the word because that contradicted everything that was about the control. And so that couldn't be there, even though he was important enough for God that he didn't see death. Only two, Enoch and Elijah. And now let's start putting some sense to all of that. Well, if they didn't see death, and you're not going to see death either, he's not coming back here to this realm to save us. He's calling us up to a higher place because we have done those things in which he showed us to do. He was the way shower. And it's like, awakening has brought people closer to God, not to have people be revealed that, the government's corruption. No, those are all side effects. Those are all byproducts of you awakening and having your spiritual side of you become more dominant than your physical side. You're not being led of your exterior, but the interior, in which that's what he was always talking about. So, anyone that wants to use my words to contradict that and throw Bible verses, well, I can actually use the Bible just the same way because the Bible can be cherry-picked all through it for anything, even the murder of children, which he did tell them to do, which, if you ask me, if you were to tell people that story outside of saying this is in the Bible, then it wouldn't be too well received. So don't try to use the Bible because the Bible has been manipulated. And you don't even want to use the actual words that were not manipulated, that were found in the Nag Hammadi library that's what it's called now, but were found in Nag Hammadi in the 1940s that kind of contradicts a lot of what you're saying, because these are actual teachings by the disciples, and they actually are talking about the exact same thing I'm talking about. But you don't have to believe anything. You can do what you want. It's not going to jeopardize your salvation. It's not going to jeopardize you going to hell. No, it's not. And you can believe what you want to, but that was all about neutering the church and the people, because they had to control you. And now you're becoming uncontrollable, just like Christ was uncontrollable. And when people see you being Christ-like, and they really know what Christ was like, then that is the tale. Not what you say, but what you do. And he wasn't controllable. He didn't do anything that was a part of their way of doing things. That's why they had to get rid of him. And they did just that. But you can, this is about your awakening, your personal journey, your experience with the Father, or however you want to have that relationship with. That's my relationship. And he took me to see, pulled me out of the school and said, I want to be the one that teaches you my ways. And when I use the Bible, he's taken me through all of the things that he wanted to say, look, this is what I want to show you, that they tried to hide, what they tried to manipulate. These are my truths that are still there of who I am and my relationship with you. Not man teaching me, but by my Spirit and by the Father. And so you can follow me or not follow me. It is okay, but that's not going to change reality. And I'm not trying to convince you. I'm not trying to throw myself out there every day. I've actually pulled myself back intentionally because of my own spiritual development that I have to do. Christ did the same thing. He went off into the wilderness lots to be by himself. But these people that are out there, they got to be out there in your face telling you what you need to do and how you need to act and what you need to be, doing, or you're not gonna. You do you. And you let the Father and you let your Spirit be the one that leads you, because that's where the discernment comes in that Christ spoke for you to have, because you have it. The kingdom of God is already in you. We are fractals of the actual Creator in every one of us. Everything. Nothing exists outside of God. Nothing. Zero. Remove God out of it and it don't exist anymore. Explain that. There's a lot that you can explain, and that's on purpose, because they didn't want you to be able to explain how we are supposed to be here 6,000 years. But that's been completely false, and we know that. But that's the teaching, and that's what they wanted you to believe, because they didn't have the ability to disprove it back then. But then also the population. Oh, and that's the flood and the elimination of the flood. And, he flooded the earth to kill every single soul. I'm talking about the children, the babies, all of those that were innocent, murdered. But we tell our kids that this is a good story and that he saved 2 of each kind, which the real story says that it's 7 of each. And because 1 of the 7 had to be used as an offering. Oh yeah, that's a blood sacrifice. So you believe what you want to believe. I'm going to go the direction that I choose to go down and being led of my spirit. And I'm not actually trying to convince you to do anything. And you can turn my words around. You can be just like how you used them without context and basically be just like the mainstream media. Use my words outside of their context. And people see that. It's a manipulation. I'm not using manipulation on anybody. And I'm not using anybody's words or any people. I'm speaking to you directly, my heart to your heart. You can receive it or not. Turn it off. Change the channel. But mine's coming from love without trying to convince you. If it bears, if it, you know, resonates with your soul and your spirit, then so be it. If it doesn't, then Christ said, those that have ears to hear will hear. Those that have eyes to see will see. It's not for everybody. What? It's okay. It's not going to change. God has not removed himself from your life or this world. There has been a God of this world in which Christ met after he was 40 days and 40 nights at his weakest. And he said, if you'll just bow down to me, I'll give you the kingdoms of the world. He didn't say, this is not yours to give. He didn't say that. But he is the father of lies. He said, get thee behind me. I don't have to deal with you. And neither do you. You never had to. But they don't want you to be like Christ. They really don't. And when you ask that question, what would Jesus do? He was a rebel. I don't see him going into the temple, casting them out for being the thieves and the money changers, that he was in there being all polite, kind, and gentle. No. But you do you. Just do you, and everything will be okay. Because God's already got this all figured out. If God's tugging at your heart, he's tugging at your heart. He's doing those things to you to wake you up, to bring you into the reality of who you are, your relationship with him, and that's what's important, and that's all that matters to me, is your relationship with the Creator. That's what's truly important. And that's what most people have experienced through all of this, is coming back to their true spirituality. And you can call it New Age, you can call it, but the Gnostics, the crap that was brought forth by Constantine and the Council of Nicaea, that was what was called New Age. So believe what you want and allow those things that resonate. If it doesn't, turn channel. It's okay. I'm good with that. But it ain't going to change the fact that God's still here and he's still going to be God no matter what. You still have a call on your life, and will you answer it? That's all. I love you guys. Talk to you later. Capt, call out.